GMX got hyped a lot recently, both on Twitter but also on YouTube. Some even called it the #1 liquidity pool. True, it looks super solid at first glance, but if you take a closer look, you will find some critical vulnerabilities that make this protocol actually uninvestable. Hello and welcome to Finance with Axel. I took a deep dive into GMX and these are my findings. You can currently use the GMX exchange on either Avalanche or Arbitrum. GMX is a DEX that allows for limit orders, stop loss and take profit orders, which most others don't support. You can do simple swaps too, but first and foremost, GMX is a decentralized perpetual exchange on which you can trade cryptocurrencies like BTC, ETH, and AVAX with up to 30x leverage. I would advise anyone not to trade. Leverage trading is even worse, so stay away from it at all costs. Keep in mind that I am not a financial advisor. Never trust a random dude on the internet who might be living in his parents' basement. This is for educational and entertainment purpose only. The actual product is not what makes this platform interesting from an investment standpoint. Leverage trading attracts gamblers. I don't want to gamble without any edge. In these markets, usually the house is the winner and not the gambler, or in this case, the trader. The odds are stacked against you, although some other YouTubers might tell you otherwise. But I digress. What makes an investment in GMX interesting is that you can become the house and participate in the trader's losses. The ecosystem they created consists of two tokens. GMX is the utility and governance token, which accrues 30% of the platform fees. GLP is the liquidity token, which liquidity providers get in exchange for providing assets like Avalanche, Ethereum, and some others. It also accrues 70% of the platform's generated fees. The fees are what makes leverage trading not a zero-sum game, but a plus EV game for the exchange and a minus EV game for the trader. As markets are per definition almost unpredictable, especially in the short run, people will lose the fees over the long run than trying to come up ahead. The fees are competitive even after factoring in the gas fees too, which are usually cheap on AVAX and Arbitrum, making GMX an attractive option for gamblers. And now the aforementioned GLP liquidity token comes into play. You can be the casino by providing liquidity. GLP is a basket of tokens consisting of the currently available trading pairs. On AVAX, these are AVAX, Ethereum, BTC, USDC, and MIM. On Arbitrum, the basket consists of a few more tokens, namely BTC, ETH, Uni, Link, and a few stablecoins. These pools want to have a stable weight between assets, which can be found on their dashboard. The weighting also seems to be based on what the more popular trading pairs are. As always, when you provide liquidity, you have the risk of impermanent loss. The advantages of multi-asset pools are that you have less slippage when doing swaps, and the impermanent loss is also lower compared to a pool of just two assets. You will be compensated for taking this risk by a generous APR. One of the coolest things is that the rewards are partly paid in native assets, AVAX or ETH. The rest of the rewards come in the form of escrow GMX. You could argue that investing into GLP is like buying an ETF, but better, as you got exposure to prime assets while also earning protocol fees. You could assume that GLP is worth it because the protocol beat traders for 23.3 million since its inception. Let's now come to the negatives. I really appreciate that I can earn in native tokens. But what I really don't like, actually hate, is that I also receive a lot of my rewards in escrow GMX or ES GMX. I don't appreciate escrow GMX because I cannot sell them right away. I have to transform them into GMX first. This takes a whole year. And it gets even worse. In order to convert my escrow GMX, I will have to lock the GLP or GMX which were used to generate it. As well, during escrow, only the stake GMX earn rewards, the ES GMX don't. Once vesting, 1/365th of the ES GMX is converted to GMX per day. The relative amount of other locked tokens will become liquid too. In other words, the escrow GMX and the relative GLP GMX locked up initially will unlock little by little over the course of 1 year. I guess this is done to keep interest for the GMX token high and reduce selling pressure. This is good for GMX, but I, as an investor who mainly is interested in the native token rewards, hate this for sure. Alternatively, I could also stake my vested GMX to earn rewards. The rewards will be more escrow GMX. At least some of the rewards will come in the form of AVAX and ETH. I love to be the house and collect money from gamblers for sure, but unfortunately the GLP holders will only receive 70% of the rewards, but bear 100% of the risk. Traders are paid 100% out of the GLP pool if they win, but liquidity providers only receive 70% of the trading fees. This is because the GMX token needs some utility too, and the engineers of the protocol thought that it's fair to give them 30% of the revenue while having no risks. To me, this seems not well balanced. Ideally, if I take all the risk, I also want all the rewards, or at least a bigger share than just 70%. The risks for liquidity providers are also non-negligible. First, we didn't went through a bull market yet in which a lot of liquidity could be drained from the pool as traders are going long for the most part. And this could cause high losses for GLP LPs. Second, whales who got enough capital to manipulate prices while simultaneously betting on the market movement with leverage are also a huge threat. In addition, 2 more red flags were discovered by me. First, the GMX team is anonymous, which in itself is not necessarily a knockout criterion. I myself value my privacy very highly, and especially in the DeFi area, you don't want to be sued if something goes wrong. This can always happen even if the developers have no intents to defraud users. A bug can always slip into the code and in the worst case lead to a hacker stealing a lot of money from the protocol and also its users. My second red flag is related to the code itself. Unfortunately, I myself cannot read code, but I could find a post on Twitter from someone else who checked GMX smart contract, which showed some vulnerabilities, which together with the anonymous programmer team are a no-go for me. According to bowtiepickle.eth, the loosely controlled mint and burn function is an issue. A malicious actor might be able to burn your tokens or mint infinite GMX for himself. In addition to that, the private transfer mode can be set at will by the admin wallet. This takes away your ability to make any transactions. Funds can be drained this way too, so this is an attack vector for a potential rug pull. According to this Twitter user, this address is also controlled not even by a multisig, meaning that only one guy needs to be hacked or have nefarious intents to rug pull you. The private transfer mode is probably set to secure assets if GMX gets hacked, but it can also be used for nefarious actions. So this is a two-edged sword. I personally don't tolerate such a thing and will stay away. Or in the words of bowtightpickle.eth, do you want to hold something that can be arbitragely frozen, where the supply can be arbitragely increased, where your tokens can be pulled out from under you? To me, these security risks are inexcusable, and I can't in good conscience recommend anyone hold any value in this token. I agree with him to 100%. Please let me know in the comments what you think about it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Signing out for today. Bye bye. Take care.